So about a week ago, I put out a YouTube community post asking you what type of content you want to see from me. The results came in and overwhelmingly you want to see more DJ vlogs. And I realize I haven't filmed a vlog in a while, so more of those coming up on the channel. But someone also reached out to me on this post asking what to learn if they want to become a DJ. Now, there's loads of DJ advice, tips, videos on this channel, but I thought, you know what? I haven't covered off what you should learn or what you should figure out before you actually become a DJ. So this is that video. So kicking things off then, I think the first thing that you need to learn or the first thing you need to figure out is actually a bit about yourself. What kind of DJ do you want to be, or what could you see yourself doing? Now, don't get me wrong, if this changes through your DJing journey, then that is absolutely fine, but it is good to have this at least in the back of your mind because it gives yourself a goal to work towards. For example, do you want to do this informally, like as a way to unwind after work, perhaps playing in your bedroom or to friends, family at a house party? Then that's absolutely fine. But then if that's the case, you're probably not going to need the most expensive setup, or perhaps you want to really take it seriously and you want to create bespoke one-off events for people. If that's the case, then maybe being a wedding DJ or being a mobile DJ is going to be right for you. Or maybe you want to become a nightclub DJ, but which route of nightclub DJing do you want to go down? Do you want to become the high street commercial nightclub DJ like the venues that I play in, or do you want to take things more underground and play at a rave at sort of 4 or 5 in the morning and playing a very specialist genre of music? All of these things I think you need to take into account because as you start to get out there, it will impact on your brand. And also a consideration needs to be made for the types of music that you are downloading. Let me give you an example. If you have the aim of being a underground techno DJ in a rave at 5 in the morning, then there's absolutely no point in you downloading the top 40 chart and everything that you would play at a wedding. Do consider this before you start DJing because different music will suit different settings. And the thing is as well is that when you start building your brand as a DJ, whether it be on social media, whether it be on sending out mixtapes or putting out things online, if you want to end up being in the rave at 5 o'clock in the morning playing specialist music, then you don't want to be networking with the high street nightclubs or getting gigs in high street nightclubs because your energy is just going to be wasted if that's ultimately not what you want to do. Now, I'm not saying that everything that you do needs to be set in stone. There are ways to rebrand yourself, of course, if you do want to change or go down a different avenue. But if you have that in mind to begin with, then it's going to be a lot less work for you in the long run, rather than chopping and changing. The second thing that I think you really need to learn before you can call yourself a DJ or before you can start putting mixes together is learning what the equipment does, mastering the basics. Now, we're not talking about 3 and 4 deck mixing here. We're not talking anything overly complicated, but absolutely nailing the basics and feeling comfortable in front of a controller or a set of decks. So things like the play, pause and cue buttons, what the hot cues do, what the jog wheel does, the pitch sliders, and then on the mixer section, what the EQs do, and also all of the faders on there. I am actually going to be putting together a crash course in the basics of a controller very, very shortly, so look out for those videos if you are interested in mastering the basics. And then the final thing to learn before you become a DJ is start to get a grasp of how a DJ reads a crowd. Now, if you're sat there thinking, well, hold on a minute here, I haven't even got a set of decks, I've never DJ'd before. Well, you can do this by observation. When I was growing up, every time I was at a friend's birthday party or a relative's wedding or something like that, I paid attention to the DJ. I don't know if I was a little bit weird doing that, but I used to watch what they were playing and what the dance floor was doing because I knew one day I wanted to be the person playing the music. Similarly, when I was old enough to go to clubs and bars, I did the same thing. I kind of watched what the DJ was playing when they were playing certain songs and how that crowd reacted to it. and you can do the same. Literally, the power of observation is so important, and you will start to get a grasp of how a DJ reads a crowd. You never know, if you do some networking, you might get to know certain DJs and they can invite you along to their gigs, not to DJ, but certainly to help set up the equipment, pack it down on the mobile side, or for a bit of company in the DJ booth from the club side. And you can learn by watching. That is very important. So there we have it, 3 tips on what to learn before you actually start DJing yourself. Number 1, figuring out what type of DJ you want to be. Number 2, mastering the basics of your equipment when you get it. Number 3, learning to read a crowd through observation. Please hit subscribe down there if you haven't done so already and you've made it this far. Please hit the thumbs up button down below. It helps push this out to other like-minded people who are trying to learn the same thing. And if you haven't seen my last video, that is up there for you, and I will see you in the next one.